Apple's foldable iPhone is no longer just a yearly rumor. It's shaping up to be one of the biggest Apple leaks in years. If the latest reports are accurate, Apple's first foldable iPhone could arrive in 2026, and it may launch as a brand new top-tier model called the iPhone Ultra. In this video, I'll walk you through the most talked-about iPhone Ultra foldable leaks, the expected release window, the book-style design, inner and outer display sizes, hinge and crease tech, iOS 27 clues, camera decisions, performance specs, battery expectations, and the price that could push well beyond $2,000. Let's start with the name, because it tells you exactly how Apple wants you to see this product. People keep calling it the iPhone Fold, but multiple 2026 leaks suggest Apple may use the iPhone Ultra branding instead. That matters because Ultra isn't just a word Apple throws around. It signals a premium tier above Pro and Pro Max, like Apple Watch Ultra, where Apple can justify a higher price by positioning it as the absolute best, most advanced iPhone experience. Now for the release date. The loudest rumor is a September 2026 launch, likely alongside the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max. But there's a catch. Even if Apple announces it at the usual iPhone event, supply could be limited. Some reports hint that early shipments might slip later, possibly toward December, because foldable hardware is harder to build at scale. Hinge tolerances, flexible OLED panels, durability testing, and the assembly complexity of a dual display device all make limited supply a realistic scenario, especially for a first-generation foldable iPhone. One of the most interesting reasons people believe this foldable iPhone is close is software. In the iOS 27 beta, developers reportedly found references to terms like fold state and angle degrees. That sounds like Apple is building framework-level support to detect whether a device is folded or unfolded and at what hinge angle it's being held. That's exactly the kind of system awareness needed for a true foldable iPhone experience. Apps that dynamically resize, layouts that intelligently adapt, and UI that behaves differently when you're using the outer screen versus the big inner display. And iOS 27 may have dropped another hint. References shifting from battery to batteries. On a book-style foldable, that makes a lot of sense, because many foldables split their power system into two cells, one in each half of the device. If Apple is doing a dual battery layout, it could be a major clue that the internal hardware is real and the software is already preparing for it. So what will the iPhone Ultra foldable look like? Nearly every major leak points to a book-style foldable design, not a flip phone. Instead of folding top to bottom like an old clamshell, this one is expected to open left to right like a book, transforming from a phone into a small tablet. When closed, the device is rumored to look wider and squarer than a typical iPhone. Some people describe it as passport-like. When opened, it's expected to feel more like an iPad mini in your hands than a stretched-out phone screen. This is where Apple's rumored display choice becomes a big deal. The inner foldable display is widely predicted to be around 7.7 to 7.8 inches, and the outer cover display is rumored to be around 5.3 to 5.5 inches. The key detail is aspect ratio. Leaks suggest a more iPad-like 4.3 shape on the inside, rather than the tall, narrow look seen on many older foldables. A wider inner display could make multitasking feel natural, reading articles, editing documents, browsing, email, spreadsheets, and split-screen app layouts that actually look usable instead of cramped. But the hinge and crease are the real make-or-break factors for any foldable, and this is the main reason Apple waited so long. While competitors have been selling foldable phones since 2019, Apple's strategy tends to be, don't ship it until it feels solved. The biggest complaint about foldables is the crease, both how it looks and how it feels under your finger. The newest wave of rumors says Apple is aiming for a near creaseless OLED panel, with engineering choices designed to keep the inner screen flatter and more premium when opened. On the material side, leaks mention advanced hinge construction that could include titanium alloy for structural strength and liquid metal components for durability and smoother long-term performance. There are also repeated mentions of internal metal support plates beneath the display to distribute stress, plus specialized manufacturing techniques designed to minimize crease visibility over time. Some reports even mention variable thickness glass, meaning the glass layer could be engineered to be thinner at the fold point to reduce stress with repeated opening and closing. If Apple pulls this off, it could be the first foldable that feels less like a compromise and more like a true Apple quality display experience. Now let's talk size and thickness. because foldables often feel bulky. Some leaks claim Apple is pushing for an ultra-thin profile, around 4.5mm when unfolded and around 9.5mm when folded, though other sources suggest it might be closer to 11mm when closed. Either way, Apple clearly wants to win on feel, slim enough to carry like a normal phone, yet solid enough to survive daily use. That balance is hard, and it's also why certain features may be sacrificed. And yes, there are rumored trade-offs, even with the Ultra name. The biggest one, Face ID. Multiple reports suggest the foldable iPhone may not include Face ID, likely because of thickness constraints and the complexity of front cameras in both folded and unfolded modes. Instead, Apple could bring back Touch ID built into the side power button, similar to iPad Air. Touch ID is fast and reliable, but it will still feel like a shocking change on a device that could cost more than any iPhone ever. The second major compromise could be the camera system, specifically the telephoto lens. The foldable iPhone Ultra is rumored to have two 48MP rear cameras, likely a wide and an ultra-wide, plus two front-facing cameras, one optimized for using the phone while closed and another for when it's unfolded. But the consistent rumor is that it may skip a dedicated telephoto camera, probably due to internal space limitations. That's a big deal because optical zoom is one of the main reasons people buy Pro iPhones, and calling something Ultra while removing telephoto is going to be controversial. There are also questions around MagSafe and wireless charging. Foldable designs can force changes in internal layout and back materials, and that might affect how traditional wireless charging coils and magnets are implemented. Nothing is confirmed, but it's one of the practical issues that comes up anytime you try to fold a device that's also expected to be thin, durable, and premium. Now for performance. With a 2026 launch window tied to the iPhone 18 Pro generation, the foldable iPhone Ultra is expected to run an A20 class chip, possibly an A20 or A20 Pro, paired with high memory, with 12GB RAM often mentioned in leaks. On connectivity, Apple's push toward in-house silicon could continue here too, with rumors pointing to a C2 modem and updated Apple-designed Wi-Fi and Bluetooth chips, potentially with Wi-Fi 7 support. The goal would be flagship speed, flagship efficiency, and better integration across Apple's ecosystem. Battery could be one of the biggest wins if the leaks are right. Some reports suggest Apple may target a total capacity around 5,000 to 5,500 mAh, possibly split across two cells, making it one of the largest batteries ever in an iPhone. Battery life is a weakness for many foldables because big screens drain power fast. So if Apple can deliver strong all-day battery even with a 7.8-inch inner OLED, that alone would make the iPhone Ultra Foldable stand out. Finally, the price, because this is where the Ultra positioning becomes very real. The most common prediction is a starting price around $119,999, with higher storage configurations potentially reaching $2,399. Some China pricing leaks line up with that same tiering. A premium base model and a top-end 1TB version that pushes into laptop territory. That's not an accident. Apple doesn't want this to replace the iPhone Pro Max. It wants this to sit above it as a new category and a new status symbol. An iPhone and iPad hybrid that justifies a new price ceiling. So if you're asking, why is Apple making a foldable iPhone now? The answer is the same reason Apple often enters new categories late. It waits until it believes the technology is ready for mainstream users, not just early adopters. Apple doesn't need to be first. It wants to be the one that makes foldables feel normal, durable, and worth the money. If the iPhone Ultra Foldable really launches in 2026, expect Apple to market it around three things: a larger iPad-like inner display, a hinge and screen that feel dramatically more refined, and an ultra-tier experience that sits above the Pro Max. Now the real question is whether Apple can deliver that premium foldable promise without the compromises, especially if Face ID and telephoto zoom are truly missing at a $2,000+ price point.